Hey guys, looking for new beat-em-up games to play in 2025? Then you've come to the right place. We've already started the list with Acts of Blood, a game that promises to be an intense and action-packed experience, ideal for those who like fast and brutal combat. Acts of Blood is a third-person beat-em-up, focused on fast and brutal hand-to-hand combat. The game brings intense gameplay, with mechanics reminiscent of classics of the genre, but with a modern and cinematic approach. The plot revolves around Hendra, whose life is devastated when his family is murdered by a business rival of his father. Driven by revenge, Hendra plunges into a world of violence and corruption, facing enemies in intense battles as he seeks personal justice. The next game on the list is Mayhemers, a multiplayer beat-em-up chaos creation game for up to 8 players with a procedurally generated map. The game pits players on 2 opposing sides, the Mayhemers and the Guardians. The Mayhemers are tasked with causing chaos, while the Guardians try to stop them. The Mayhemers' goal is to earn chaos points and escape the area with their teammates before time runs out. They can earn chaos points by causing destruction, starting fires, beating people up, and much more. The Guardians, on the other hand, need to defeat all the Mayhemers or prevent them from reaching the required chaos point before time runs out. They can pick up defeated Mayhemers and put them in jail so they don't respawn until they are rescued. Detained, Too Good for School, is a promising game that mixes elements of beat-em-up and 2D action RPG, developed by ARTcade Games and published by Thermite Games. In the game, you take on the role of a delinquent student who has just been released after spending half a year in prison. The story takes place in Swinster City, a densely populated metropolis where you will have the freedom to decide your destiny. The narrative also involves mystery. On the first day of school after transferring to a new city, your character was framed and ended up in prison. The game features beautiful 2D visuals, with detailed animations and an art style that evokes classic beat-em-up games, but with a modern approach.
Loosen up, buttercup, all those hate comments will never make you feel enough. We're all adequate graduates, hearts full of calluses, but we know calculus. Damn, ain't that fabulous, can't wait to apply all those mathematicus. But we can't get a job that pays us enough, I'm about to pop off. Fuck you, you're lost, we all know that we never really want.
Breeze in the Clouds is a 2D indie action-adventure game that promises to win over players with its stylish gameplay and unique theme. In the game, you control Breeze, a brave corgi who is carried by mysterious winds to a fantastic world called Tropolis, where animals have the power to control the weather. The narrative combines elements of adventure and environmental awareness, as the protagonist fights against pollution while trying to return home. The narrative combines elements of adventure and environmental awareness, as the protagonist fights against pollution while trying to return home. The gameplay promises to be accessible, but with enough depth to appeal to both casual players and fans of action and platform games. Big Helmet Heroes is a 3D beat-em-up action-adventure game developed by Exalted Studio and published by Dear Villagers. It promises to be a fun and surprising experience, ideal for those who like cooperative games or solo adventures. The game combines dynamic fights with adventure elements in a world full of humor and unexpected situations. You can play alone or with a friend, which makes the game perfect for relaxed and collaborative moments. The main mission involves saving a princess, but the plot promises to be just the beginning of an adventure full of twists and turns. The game bets on a cartoonish and adorable visual, with funny knights and vibrant worlds. This light and relaxed aesthetic is ideal for attracting players of all ages, especially those looking for a more casual and fun experience. City of Rampage is a beat-em-up game, inspired by classics like Streets of Rage and Comic Zone. It promises to bring a nostalgic experience for fans of these games, but with advanced fighting mechanics and challenging bosses that will test your skills. The game features beautiful hand-drawn visuals with a style reminiscent of classic games from the 90s. City of Rampage is a side-scrolling game where the player controls a character who fights against enemies and bosses. The game promises advanced fighting mechanics, which indicates a deep and strategic combat system. The story of the game has not yet been revealed in detail, but the description suggests a challenging journey that will keep the player engaged. City of Rampage seems to be a promising game for fans of beat-em-up games. Double Dragon Revive is the newest title in the iconic action and fighting game franchise, which has marked generations since its debut in arcades in 1987. Double Dragon Revive presents a modernized approach with 3D visuals and renewed gameplay, maintaining the spirit of intense action that defined the belt scroll genre, side-scrolling games with combat. The character graphics have been completely redesigned, bringing a more elegant and updated style to attract both old and new players. The game promises to revive the classic action of the Lee brothers in a new adventure, with intense combat and exclusive bonuses for fans of the series. Arc System Works, known for games like Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball FighterZ, is leading the project, which increases expectations regarding the quality of the gameplay.
Fast as the wind, strong as lightning. Face lightning's judgment!
Mad King Redemption is a game in development for PC that combines elements of beat-em-up, deck building, and roguelite. The game takes place in a world called Etheria, which was cursed by the Mad King, who used forbidden magic to try to resurrect his beloved. The Mad King, in his desperate quest to bring his beloved back to life, used forbidden cards that drove him mad. Now it's up to players to take on the role of heroes who have also committed sins and seek redemption. Mad King Redemption seems to be a promising game that combines elements of different genres to create a unique and challenging experience. The mix of direct combat, deck building, and roguelite elements offers a wide variety of options for players to customize their playstyle and face the challenges the game presents. Terrifier, the ARTcade game, is a game inspired by the famous horror film franchise Terrifier, which gained prominence for its iconic character, the clown Art. This game promises to bring a unique experience for fans of horror and retro games, combining frenetic action, dark humor, and pixelated violence. The game is a retro beat-em-up that is a fighting game where you face hordes of enemies in hand-to-hand combat. It is described as bloody, and full of references to the Terrifier franchise, which should appeal to both fans of the films and lovers of classic games from the 80s and 90s. In addition, the game mixes frenetic action with acidic humor, creating an atmosphere that reflects the tone of the films well. The pixelated aesthetic and retro style are a big draw, especially for those who like games with a nostalgic feel. Dicey Krime, Traveler of Time is a beat-em-up game with a comedic and sarcastic approach, mixing cooperative action and pop culture references. It was developed with a unique artistic style and promises a fun and nostalgic experience for players. The game follows the story of Dicey and his group of friends, who are on a mission to fight crime and injustice around the world. To do this, they travel through time, visiting different cities in different eras. The narrative is full of humor and sarcasm with elements that reference pop culture. If you like games with a comedic feel and pop culture references, this title might be a great choice. Fallen City Brawl is a beat-em-up action game that promises to bring a nostalgic experience for fans of the classics of the 80s and 90s. The game is a tribute to classic arcade beat-em-ups like Streets of Rage and Final Fight. It features a pixel art style that captures the essence of retro games, but with a modern twist. The gameplay is focused on intense combat and side-scrolling, where players face waves of enemies in hand-to-hand fights. In the plot, 4 unlikely characters join forces to face a brutal battle for control of the criminal underworld in Fallen City. They are accompanied by a fierce wolf, which adds an interesting dynamic to the gameplay. The story is centered on ambition and revenge, as the protagonists fight to regain control of the streets. To finish the video, I bring you Spine, a highly anticipated action-adventure game developed by Neki that promises to bring an intense and cinematic experience for players. The game follows the story of Redline, a street artist who is equipped with a conscious combat implant called Spine. The narrative revolves around her fight against an oppressive regime controlled by an artificial intelligence. This premise places the player in a futuristic and dystopian world, where technology plays a central role in both the story and the gameplay. Spine is a single-player, story-driven game, with intense and choreographed combat that uses the fighting style known as Gun Fu, popularized by films like John Wick. The player can perform acrobatic moves and use firearms in close-quarters combat, creating a visually impressive and adrenaline-pumping experience. Well, that was the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and see you next time.
We've got guests. Let's welcome them properly.